Hola! Today we are going to continue talking about direct objects and direct object pronouns. Now, if you're not sure how to choose a direct object pronoun or what a direct object is, please go back to our previous video about that. What we are going to talk about today, though, are situations where you have the option of placing the direct object pronoun at the end of the verb or at the end of the sentence versus and in front of the verb like we talked about previously. Okay, so as you can see up here on the screen, there are some situations where if there is an infinitive verb in the sentence, okay, now this basically means that there is more than one word to the verb. Somebody, for instance, likes to do something or wants to do something. You have a helping verb and then the regular verb. Those are the situations where you have the option of placing the direct object pronoun either in front of the verb, as we talked about in the last lesson, or tacked on to the end of the infinitive. So I've given you two examples here. The first one, I want to eat it, and it is replacing the word hamburger in the sentence. So the original sentence in Spanish would be Yo quiero comer la hamburguesa. Okay? Replacing la hamburguesa with la. Okay, that's something we talked about previously. Now the new sentence can be organized in two ways. Yo la quiero comer. Okay, I want to eat it. And that is placing the direct object pronoun in front of the verb, as we talked about previously. The other option, then, is to say, Yo quiero comerla. Okay. Now, this sounds a little bit better to English speakers because it is this type of sentence organization we would normally use in English. Okay. But basically, the point here is that you have the option of placing the la either in front of the verb or at the end. What you cannot do is separate the two words of the verb, the quiero and the comer. That is a verb phrase that cannot be separated for any reason. Okay, the other example I have here, she is going to prepare them. And the them in this case is desserts. Okay, so the original Spanish sentence would have been Ella va a preparar los postres. Okay, los postres is being replaced with the pronoun los. And you notice I have the option of placing it either in front of va or tacked on to preparar. Okay? In the first sentence, that follows closely to what we talked about in the last lesson. Va is the first word of the verb, preparar is the last one. Notice you cannot separate them. Los va a preparar or va a prepararlos as one word. Prepararlos is one word, and so is comerla in the first example. Okay. We are going to kind of do a little review on the next slide of situations that you could use this in. You know, when do you have more than one word to the verb? Okay, if you need to finish writing these notes, please pause the video here, and then when you're ready, start up again, and we'll go through some situations that we would use this in. Yeah, I have some example sentences for you, and this isn't the entire list, but it's quite a bit of what we've talked about so far this year. Sentences where you have more than one word to the verb. First example, and the one we've probably used the most, is a gusta sentence. Me gusta comer la fruta. Okay, I can take the la from fruta and say la me gusta comer or me gusta comerla. Me gusta comer is its own expression, and that cannot be separated, but you can place that pronoun before or after it. Tienes que comer la fruta. You have to eat the fruit. Tener que, to have to do something, is followed by an infinitive. And those three words, that expression, can't be separated, but a pronoun could go either in front of or behind it. Ella necesita comer la fruta. Necesitar, to need to do something. In that example, the la could be placed in front of necesita or again tacked onto comer. In any of these examples, the la to replace fruta can be tacked onto comer. Queremos comer la fruta. We want to eat the fruit. So querer, to want to do something. In that example, I could say la queremos comer. We want to eat it. Or queremos comerla. The last two, ellos van a comer la fruta. This uses ir plus a, the way to express future tense. They are going to eat the fruit. Okay? The la could be placed in front of van or tacked onto comer. The last one was an example we've just talked about in the last chapter, poder, to be able to. No puedo comer la fruta. I cannot eat the fruit. the la, and that could be placed in front of puedo or tacked onto comer. So no la puedo comer, I cannot eat it. Okay, so these are a few examples. It's not our entire list, but it's the ones that you're going to see most of the time. And they're all situations where you could either place the pronoun at the beginning of the verb or tacked onto the end of the infinitive. Okay, the next slide you're going to see are some example sentences. We'll practice that a little bit and then go through them. So pause here if you need to finish these notes or write in what they mean as well. Okay, and then we'll go on. Okay, what I would like you to do is translate these sentences. You see that you have the original sentence that includes the direct object, and then in the second sentence for each set, you are replacing the direct object with a pronoun. So what I'd like you to do is pause the video, write out your responses to these 6 sentences, to these 6 translations, and then start up the video again and we'll take a look at the responses. Now, if you notice, these are all sentences that have multiple word verbs, so you're going to have the option of where to place the pronoun. So, like I said, pause here and then we'll go through it in a few seconds. Bien. Okay, here are your responses to the sentences. Your first sentence, Maria va a preparar el pescado. Okay, el pescado is our direct object. We're going to, in the second sentence, replace it with the word lo. Now I have one form of the response here, Maria va a prepararlo, tacking it onto the end of preparar. The other option is to say Maria lo va a preparar, okay, with the lo in front. Watch that you're not placing the lo in both locations. Choose one or the other. Second set of sentences, I want to drink milk. Okay, yo quiero beber la leche. La leche is going to be replaced with la in the second sentence. I want to drink it. So, yo quiero beberla is one version of that. We placed it, tacking it onto the end of beber. Other way to say that, yo la quiero beber. Okay, last set of sentences. They need to clean the house and they need to clean it. Ellos necesitan limpiar la casa. Necesitan limpiar is our verb phrase. Okay, we cannot separate that phrase. La casa is going to be replaced with the pronoun la. One option you see on the screen, ellos necesitan limpiarla, or ellos la necesitan limpiar. Okay, so notice on all of these, the verb phrase can't be separated, but you can place the pronoun either in front of it or tacked onto the end of the infinitive, the last phrase. Okay, one other reminder for you before we end the lesson. This only works. It only works to place the pronoun at the end of the verb if there is more than one word to the verb, if there's an infinitive. Now, last Friday, we went through the lesson where if you just have one word to the verb and it matches the subject, the pronoun has to be in front. That still applies. In all of the verbs we've talked about so far, you can place the pronoun in front of the verb and it'll be always correct. You only have the option of placing it at the end if there was a multiple word verb. So please remember that. Please check, and also check the website to make to see if we went through any other activities to review this lesson. Otherwise, adios.